Greetings and salutations, everybody, and welcome to episode 1 of the Glitched Out Gaming Podcast. The podcast coming to you each and every week to discuss all the things in the gaming world. On today's episode, we have the games of merch. We have 4 big news stories, and in our topic of the week, we're gonna talk Pokemon, because why the fuck not? It's its 20th anniversary. And joining me for this show, he's back this week, the one, the only, Israel Pacheco.
Meow, that's right. I had to throw in a little Pokemon reference there, since we're going to be talking about it, even from the anime. But, yeah, what's up, man? I missed last week. I was tired as hell. I think that's why I sent you a message, right? I was like, I'm tired, and I just wasn't in the mindset to record. But Matt did a pretty good job last week's show. I listened back to it, so why did I say Matt? Mike. I'm thinking his last name's Chalice, is it?
That's right.
Okay. Why did I think Matt?
Well, he does work with a guy named Matt, so
okay, Mike Chalice. At least I had his last name right, which usually you always get the last name wrong. Anyway, yes. Train wreck of an opening.
We're botching already. You know we're back.
Yep.
But yeah, big thanks to Mike for that. But yeah, we've got a fun episode this week. So why don't we kick this off as we kick off every episode with what we've been playing. And it's been 2 weeks, man. What have you been playing?
Just 2 games. I haven't been playing much, to be honest, within the last few weeks. It's been kind of a lull in gaming for me. It's like one of those times of the year where I'm like, I don't really feel like playing much. The first game is one that I've been playing for a long time. That is Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. Hopped back into that, did a few missions. That's about it. It's still really fun. I'm still really enjoying it. The next game that I have here is Street Fighter 5 on PS4.
Woo!
Which I wasn't going to play until they, eventually completed it. But I figured, hey, what the hell? I already paid for it. Let me give it a shot. I'm hearing good things about the gameplay, even if everything else is mediocre around the gameplay. So yeah, I tried it out, and the gameplay is fantastic. It is pretty bare bones in terms of the content. There is no arcade mode, which is puzzling for a fighting game to not have an arcade mode. The story mode, there's been a lot of criticism in the story mode, and I definitely agree in terms of it being so short. What I think it's not getting credit for, which I might get flack for, is I think the story that's actually there is interesting and intriguing, and like the dialogue and voice acting is well done. It's just how it's presented. They have like comic book panels that they show. It looks like some of the Street Fighter Udon artwork, basically. And they just show those, and they switch between different perspectives of the characters, and then you do like one fight, one round, move on to the next segment of the story, one fight, one round, move on to the next segment, and then you're done with the story for a particular character. I've done 8 of the stories so far. There's 16 characters, so I'm halfway through that. It goes by really quick, but there is some interesting stuff going on. Like, I thought Cammy's storyline was pretty interesting. Birdie's was hilarious because the whole storyline is just him being a fat ass and trying to get something to eat.
Okay.
He basically leaves Shadowloo because he's not getting enough to eat. But it's ridiculous. But that's always been a part of Street Fighter. There's always been those characters who are taken more seriously, like Ryu and Ken. And then there's always been the one-offs like Blanca, who, the whole mom thing from back in the Street Fighter 2 days. So it's well done, but it's just disappointing, especially when you compare it to Mortal Kombat 9, Mortal Kombat 10/X. That is more developed. They said they're going to do something similar to that. It's going to come out in June, but they said it's only going to be like an hour to 2 hours. I'm like, come on, guys, you do something at least like 3 hours long or something. Like Mortal Kombat X's story was around that, like 2 to 3 hours. So yeah, I had some issues early on in terms of getting online. Like the first night I hopped in, I was so mad because I didn't realize they were doing maintenance. So I kept trying to log in, and you don't get any of the fight points, which is a currency, if you're not logged in. So I was gonna go through the story mode, but if you play the story mode, you get fight points, which then you can use to unlock characters when they're released eventually. So I was like, why would I play this and not get, you know, the points for it? So I said, screw it. I did like the brief tutorial, got off, hopped back in the next night, and I started playing through the story mode. I hopped online. I got wrecked. I maybe won like one match, but it's fun. There's definitely some server issues in terms of the lag and stuff, but at least you could filter that out mostly. You could filter like the star rating for your speed, so it's between 1 to 5 stars. So I put it somewhere between 4 and 5 stars. So yeah, it's fun. I'm still learning the mechanics of the game. I still don't really understand how the VSync system works. I need to look more into that, and the game definitely does not help you because the tutorial that it does is super brief. It doesn't even do what Street Fighter 4 did, which they had like a dedicated tutorial section where you had to go through and input the different moves and learn all the different mechanics. That's not even here.
Wow.
So it's super bare bones. I could understand people's criticism. The fighting is super smooth. I like how the characters are animated. I like the different levels and stages that they have. I haven't really tried out any of the new characters that I could think of because I've just been doing like going through the first few story modes. I think it's just been all previous characters, but yeah, it's good. It's not great at this point because of all the lacking stuff, but next month, hopefully with the update that's coming, it'll improve, and then future updates like the story mode, and then when all the characters are finally released, it'll be more of a complete picture towards the end of the year. Yeah, it kind of reminds me like Killer Instinct in a way. Like it was kind of handled the same way. It was released with the, you know, main mechanics there, and they added like story later, and they added more characters later, but that wasn't $60. That was $20 for like the original season, 40 if you wanted to get like the port of the original Killer Instinct. But yeah, there's definitely an issue with the price point. I just saw Screw Attack's top 10 video on how to improve Street Fighter 5, and I completely agree with everything they talked about it, and hopefully they listen and they give early adopters something unique for it. You know, I don't know what that could be, if it's like a banner or something that says like, you know, original fighter or whatever it is. But yeah, it's rough, but I'm just sticking to those 2 games now because like I said, I'm just going through like a really meh period. Like I just did my pickups video, and the whole month I completed no games, like nothing new that I bought, nothing from the previous month. So I'm trying to stick to as few games as possible and just enjoy those for the time being until Uncharted 4, because goddamn, that trailer was epic, which somewhere in the show we'll talk about. But yeah, after like 10 minutes straight of talking, I'll kick it over to you because I got nothing else to talk about.
Alright, well, I don't have much to talk about. I have played a few games. Played more of Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth on the Vita, and a tiny bit more of Fire Emblem. Just haven't had much time to game this past week. And when I have, I've pretty much been sleeping because I've been so tired. So yeah, a little bit more in each of those. Really loving it. I'm really digging Cyber Sleuth. That, if you're looking for a good game to play on the Vita right now, I highly recommend that game. It's really good. Classic turn-based kind of deal. Music's great. And if you love Digimon, there's no reason for you not to buy it. It's damn good. But I have played a couple of newer games. I played Hitman Go Definitive Edition on the Vita. It's good. It's actually really good. It's a simplified puzzle game in a way. Like starting off is like, oh, this isn't too bad. This is pretty easy. I'll get through this and get to platinum fairly quickly. Not so much getting through to the later levels in level 1. Things become actually pretty difficult, and there's there's challenges on each level, like don't kill everybody, get a briefcase, or complete it in a certain amount of moves, which can make it quite difficult. I was trying to get past the level last night. I was just looking, I was like, how the hell am I supposed to beat this in 12 turns? There's no way, but yeah, I'm really digging it. So that's up right now on the PlayStation Store on sale, so act now before it ends tomorrow, I believe. And for under $7, it's a good purchase in my opinion.
I got a question about that. Are you finding the Vita screen to be too small for it? Because I saw some of the screenshots, and that was like my only fear, like picking it up on there.
No, not at all. I mean, this was originally a mobile game, so...
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
So it worked.
It's just maybe just the screenshots that I saw and the angles that they were displaying. It just looked kind of too small for a screen that size, but
yeah, but
maybe it was just a screenshot. Yeah.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine. Plus, it's cross-buy, so if you don't like the size of it, you can just play it on PS4 anyway.
That works.
And the last two things I've been playing, I tested out the Division beta. Pretty good. Ran smoothly. I only played for like 30 minutes, so like the opening thing, and I got to the point where you can start buying shit and whatnot, so didn't do a whole lot, but it played well. The shooting mechanics were fine. Beautiful looking game, I will give it that. It looks really, really good. So yeah, I tested that out, and I also tested out the Smite Alpha, which I'm not sure if I can actually talk about or not, if it's in the EULA, but yeah, I tried that out, and interesting. It's a MOBA, but...
Nerd.
No, Colin Moriarty's going to kill me in my sleep, but yeah, it's alright. I might give it another shot now over the next week. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've been playing. Like yourself, I'm in a little bit of a lull right now. Haven't really felt like playing a whole lot, but hey, March is around the corner and there's nothing really to buy. That being said, let's dive into the games of March.
What a transition.
I tried. This is a unique March because usually March is when like everything under the sun drops. I remember last year we were dreading this month, and this year it's like I might pick up this one game, but that's about it. But anyways, let's get started with the games of March. Day 1, we have Alkane's Gun for Windows, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. Deponia Doomsday for Windows, PS4, and Xbox One. Far Cry Primal gets its Windows release. Heavy Rain releases on the PlayStation 4. The Witch and the 100 Knight Revival Edition on PlayStation 4. Tron Run/R releases on the Xbox One. X-Blaze Code Embryo gets its Windows release. And Broforce, who won the PS4 Vote to Play vote, releases
Damn right,
on PlayStation
I voted
4.
for that.
I am excited for Broforce.
Me too. It looks fun as hell. It's like the first game probably since maybe Rocket League that's been like a PlayStation Plus title that I'm like, okay, I'm gonna play that.
Even though the entire lineup for March is kind of
Yeah, but Broforce it's enough for me. Like to be honest, I don't play most of the games.
Yep, same here. On the 2nd, we have Blaze Blue Chrono Phantasma Extended getting its Windows release. On the 3rd, we have Black Desert Online getting its Windows release. On the 4th, we have Action Hank on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Into the Stars for Windows. And The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess HD for the Wii U. So, Zelda, biggest one there in those 3 days.
Yeah, and that's a re-release, so...
Gotta get that amiibo, son.
That's the only thing. Here in the States, they're only selling the amiibo with the damn game. You can't buy it separately as far as I know.
Yeah, which is unfortunate.
And I'm not really interested in the game, to be honest. Like, the upgrade doesn't look like that impressive.
Yeah.
Like how Wind Waker did, but it's, of course, the art style in the game. It's not going to hold up like Wind Waker did. I wish they would have did like Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 HD rather than Twilight Princess, but
yeah,
I guess since it's the anniversary for Zelda, they wanted to give fans something, I guess.
yeah. On to the 8th, we have Shard Light for Windows, and Tom Clancy's The Division for Windows, PS4, and Xbox One. So, The Division, arguably the biggest game of the month releasing.
Yeah, it's going to be another one of those games that's going to be incomplete. I'm calling it now.
Mm-hmm. Maybe, but it has potential. I will say that.
It's going to be, it's going to be like Street Fighter. Like, there's potential there. It's going to be like Star Wars Battlefront. There's potential there. It's like a recurring theme lately.
Yeah.
Rainbow Six, same thing, right?
Mm-hmm. But with this being an MMO, even if they have a ton of content at launch, it's what they do afterwards with it. If they keep the game alive with constant updates of new content.
Yeah, I'm still not interested in it. Like, some of my coworkers were talking about it at work, and they're like, "Oh, did you play the beta?" I'm like, I'm not even interested, to be honest. Like, there's nothing there for me that's drawing me in.
Mm-hmm. All right, so moving on to the 10th, we have The Guest for Windows, and the 11th, we have Hitman Intro Pack for Windows, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One, and WWE 2K16 gets its Windows release. Brother!
Another incomplete game, Hitman.
Yep.
Okay, let's move on.
All right, to the 15th, we have EA Sports UFC 2 for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Fight as CM Punk. And Need for Speed releasing for Windows. So there you go, more fighty bang bang.
Yeah, you can fight as Mike Tyson too. So.
Oh yeah, you can have
pretty cool.
Mike Tyson versus CM Punk.
That's gonna be interesting. You know, it's gonna be a tangent, but like, what is going on with CM Punk and UFC? I heard he's about to have back surgery if he didn't have it already. Like, he had like his shoulder, was it last year, and now back surgery. Like, I really don't know. Like, by the time he gets in that octagon, the anticipation's gonna be like gone.
Yeah, it's like, who cares at that point? So if you want to see CM Punk fight in the octagon, buy EA Sports UFC 2.
And nothing against the guy. Like, we're both fans. It's just unfortunate, like, the sequences of events that have occurred that have led to this. You know.
Yep. All right, releasing on the 18th, we have Mario and Sonic at the Rio 2016 Olympic Games for the 3DS, and Pok-e-Hell Tournament on the Wii U. Probably the one game that both me and Izzy might buy in this month.
Yep.
Just because of Stone Cold Pikachu. Go look up that Kotaku article, folks. Moving on to the 22nd, we have Republic releasing for Windows, Mac, PS4, iOS, and Android. Stranger of Sword City releasing for the Xbox One and PlayStation Vita. And Trackmania Turbo releasing for Windows, PS4, and Xbox One. I totally forgot about that game.
That's that Ubisoft game, right? That was like nuts that they showed at E3.
Yeah, the arcade racer one.
Oh man, that just dropped out of nowhere.
All right, that's our Randy Orton pick for the month then. All right, so moving on.
Slithering into the games of March. Jeez.
Releasing on the 23rd, we have Alien Nation for the PlayStation 4, Housemarque's next twin shooter. I'm actually really excited for that one. Housemarque makes damn good games, so. Alright, releasing on the 24th, we have Killer Instinct Season 3 for Windows and Xbox One, Slain for Windows, and if you're importing games, Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball 3 for the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation Vita. Buy now on PlayAsia.com. Gonna get that sponsorship one of these days.
Jesus, we're gonna get a banner soon.
Yeah, that's the only game right now that I'm actually buying this month for March. Oh, God, expect videos in the future, folks. Alright, moving on to the 25th, we have Hyrule Warriors Legends releasing for the 3DS. The downgraded version of the Wii U game. On the 28th, we have Adrift, releasing for Windows and Oculus Rift. Chronos, releasing for Windows and Oculus Rift. Edge of Nowhere, releasing for Windows and Oculus Rift. Do you know what's releasing this day, folks? Also, Eve Valkyrie for Windows and Oculus Rift. The dawn of VR begins.
We'll see how that shakes out.
Moving on to the 24th, we have MLB 16 The Show, releasing for PS3 and PlayStation 4. And Knights of Azure, releasing for PlayStation 4. Yay, baseball. And on the to-be-announced front, we have Battlefleet Gothic Armada for Windows, Crossing Souls for Windows, Mac, and Linux, Mitomo, releasing for iOS and Android, Nintendo's first mobile game, Stars Beyond Reach for Windows, and Day of the Tentacle Remastered for PlayStation 4 and Vita and PC. So,
yeah.
So, overall...
That's March.
Yeah. Not a whole lot. I mean, we've got 2 Wii U games releasing in 1 month. That's a miracle.
That's true. Yeah, one of them is the one I'm interested in, probably Pokken Tournament, Killer Instinct Season 3, and Broforce are like the standouts for me. Broforce, I'll get through PlayStation Plus.
Yep.
Pokken and Killer Instinct, I'm still on the fence with both, to be honest, because I got Street Fighter 5, and I kind of want to dedicate my time to Street Fighter and like learn how to play the game instead of hopping between different fighting games, because that like throws you off in terms of like button inputs and all that.
Yeah.
So I might hold out. I don't know, and I really don't know how much content is going to be in Pokken Tournament. I've been watching a lot of videos of it, and it looks kind of slim in terms of what it has. So we'll see. In Killer Instinct, when the season drops, there's always just a few characters, a few stages, and then eventually later on they release things. I don't know if that has changed this time around, but that's how the previous 2 seasons worked. Not everything dropped on the same date. So yeah, nothing really like, oh my god, I need to get my hands on. Like, everything like that is in April for me.
Yeah, same here pretty much. For me, like yourself, Broforce, Pokken, and maybe Trackmania, depending on the price of that game.
Yeah.
And Alienation, and, well, like I said, the only one I have actually pre-ordered at the moment, Dead or Alive. And I'm buying that for a laugh of all things, so... Yeah.
I'm looking forward to those Lord X less experience Dead or Alive. Jeez.
I'm sure it's gonna happen. Alright, so with that, let's dive into the news. And we've got some VR stuff, Izzy. What is it?
So Sony has finally announced an event for the PlayStation VR, which we've been anticipating for it seems like the last 6 months.
Yeah.
And it's an invite-only event that's going to be held on March 15th in San Francisco. And it's going to also be having a bunch of hands-on demos for those people in attendance. And, yeah, it's going to be interesting. We'll see what comes out of this. Hopefully they don't wait till E3 to give us even further information. I'm hoping at least we hear release date, if not a release like month, because we've gotten the release window, which was supposed to be the first half of 2016, and we're already going into like almost halfway through March. Once we get to March, and the price point, we've heard Oculus Rift is at $600. We've heard the Vive is at what, $800, $900,
$900,
something like that.
It's $900.
Geez. And a PlayStation VR is gonna fall somewhere, hopefully less than $600. I'm hoping the $300 price range, but as time has gone on, I was really excited going into the beginning of this year for virtual reality, and now it's kind of, the excitement has really waned. I don't know if because I'm going through this lull with gaming right now, if that's affecting it, or I'm just getting more cynical about it and being more realistic. Like, all these things like keep popping up in my head, like Kinect and the iToy and the PlayStation Move, and even the Wiimote to a certain extent. Like, none of those like truly ever lived up to their potential for the most part. Probably the Wiimote once they got Wii Motion Plus built in.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm getting more cynical about it. It's not helping that they're not announcing a release date, so I could, know how to like budget out for getting a PlayStation VR and how much the games are going to cost, if anything's going to be bundled in. Is there going to be a price range for games? I hope they talk about that. Is there going to be a $10 experience, a $20 experience, a $40 experience? Like, what are we looking at? I hope all this is revealed, because it'll be a crazy year, because this is going to drop this year for sure. Mm-hmm. And NX is rumored to be dropping this year too. So those are two pricey video game purchases that I need to know, so I can budget things out and know when I'm going to get things. And it doesn't help that they've both been quiet, both PlayStation and Nintendo, regarding their different devices. But I'm hoping the best. We'll see how they roll this out.
Yeah, same here. Like you said, we definitely need to know a price on this thing coming up, and a release date would be handy as well. And hopefully it's not an extreme price. If Sony marks this like below, say, $400, it's going to be a great entryway into VR for a lot of people, because you look at the Oculus and the Vive and the specs you need on your PC to run those things. Yeah, it's going to be difficult. Nobody can afford to buy that plus a high-end PC to run it. But so many people have a PlayStation 4, so bam, that will be easy entry into VR for a lot of people.
I think they need to introduce other features too. It'll be cool. If you're watching a Blu-ray movie, you could watch it through the VR.
If you're in a theater, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and get the surround sound experience and all that, a virtual theater. I think applications like that will really help, because Oculus and Vive, they're going to be hitting pretty soon. So there's going to be competition in the marketplace. And like you said, this will be the entry-level point for a lot of people, if it is at, somewhere in the $300 to $400 range. I think $400 is too much. $299 will be the sweet spot, in my opinion. I don't think it should be any more than the PS4. I'm sure PS4 might drop to $299 this fall. So yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I'm getting more cynical as time goes on. If I don't know, there's just something about it that I put the brakes on this, but we'll see. Although I'm kind of pessimistic now, I am overall optimistic about it.
Well, I got something to cheer you up in our next news story.
No.
Because Resident Evil 4, 5, and everybody's favorite, 6, is coming to PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. That's right, over the course of this year, those 3 games will be released. Are they starting with 4? Fuck no, because they hate you. We're starting off with Resident Evil 6 on March 29th. That's right, and it'll be priced at $20. And Resident Evil 5 will be coming this summer. The okay one. I enjoyed 5. It was alright. And Resident Evil 4, which will now be on every fucking thing under the sun, will follow in the fall. And you'll also be able to get a physical copy if you live in the Americas. The Resident Evil 6 release will include all the post-launch DLC, and the games will be priced at $20 a piece.
What I'm still not clear on is, are the games getting individual physical copies, or are they getting a bundle? They weren't really clear about that at all. And like you said, the funniest thing about this was that they're releasing them in the reverse order. They're giving you 6, then 5, then 4. Get out of here. Get out of here with that. Get out of here. Everybody wants 4, but at this point, they've replayed it so many times on the GameCube, the PS2,
PS3,
Wii, PS3, 360, PC. They're just getting. They're just becoming a port station at this point. This is good in a way, because there's all fun future projects, but we saw what happened with Street Fighter.
Yeah.
And that all the success of these other things that Capcom have been doing. What's the last original thing besides Street Fighter 5 that they've released? I can't remember. It's been all re-releases. It was the Resident Evil 0 and Resident Evil Remake re-releases that they released. The Mega Man collection. Now Resident Evil 4, 5, and 6 re-releases. Ultra, Street Fighter 4.
What the hell have they released?
Deep Down, where the hell is that?
That's deep down in their development, apparently.
Jeez, development hell. Dead Rising 3 was probably the last one before Street Fighter that I could think of. Well, there's Monster Hunter. I'll give them that.
Yeah, that was probably their latest one.
But yeah, it's like slim pickings for Capcom nowadays. And to be honest, I'm not interested in any of these re-releases. I played Resident Evil 4 once. I enjoyed it. I'm not going to play it again. I thought the game was way too long. Resident Evil 5, and a lot of people give it crap, but I enjoyed it because I played it in co-op. I didn't play with the idiotic AI.
I did.
It's bad for you. And then Resident Evil 6 was just, I tried to play it. I couldn't. But in some more positive news.
Yes.
And a company that most of the time gives you what you want. And that is publisher Take-Two is going to be making a big splash at this year's E3. They're not saying exactly what. Are we getting Borderlands 3? Are we getting Grand Theft Auto 5 DLC? Are we getting the next iteration of the Red Dead franchise, which is probably the most likely one? I think GTA 5 DLC also is probably very likely.
Yeah.
But they also have a bunch of other crap like Battleborn and get out of here. I don't want to hear about that. But
Agent returns.
Like, imagine if that. Jesus. Maybe something in the BioShock franchise. That's possible now that they own that. Own that.
There was the rumor of the BioShock collection coming.
Yeah, another damn re-release. But yeah, I'm betting on Red Dead sequel, and a Grand Theft Auto big DLC expansion coming this fall, and maybe Red Dead next year.
Yeah, we'll probably get a hint at like Borderlands 3, perhaps.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see what they do. We know Rockstar never really makes an appearance at these events. They always show at somebody's press conference, or they do their own damn thing. Yeah, because it's Rockstar. They could do whatever the hell they want.
Yeah. And the question here is going to be: are they doing their own press conference, like taking a page out of Bethesda's book?
Oh, jeez. Everybody's doing their old damn press conference. It's so confusing. Like it's getting everything. Okay, rant time. Everything is getting so segmented nowadays, and people used to complain, that all these big websites, they were all, getting paid for these reviews and all this stuff. And what was it? Either earlier today or yesterday, I was watching a trailer on the PlayStation YouTube channel, and it was the YouTuber reaction for Far Cry Primal. And I'm like, people were complaining that these big places like IGN were supposedly getting paid for the reviews and stuff, and now we're getting everything so segmented that these what do they call them, the YouTubers, the influencers, those people could be getting paid off too. Like, it's not necessarily a better thing that you're getting this more. I don't know. It's just my little rant. Like, it rubbed me wrong when I saw that trailer on the PlayStation channel. I hit a big thumbs down, and I never do thumbs down on anything on YouTube for the most part. And I don't know. I just got sidetracked, but it's just maybe just it's just meh. Everything's so meh, right?
But if they are doing that, then Jesus, our E3 reaction show this year is going to be like 5 hours long.
Jesus, I don't want. Please, no. Just I'm not gonna watch it anyway. Like, most of their stuff is garbage. That's why I stick to like the PlayStation press conference, the Xbox press conference, and Nintendo. Hopefully this year Nintendo hits it out the park. Perfect transition because they didn't hit today's, direct out the park. Yeah. Those 6 minutes, half was spent on a retrospective, which, to be honest, was pretty cool that how they started it with the whole Game Boy screen and going into the Direct, and then he was, he was doing like Iwata, he was talking about going directly to you, and they went through this whole timeline of the Pokemon franchises and all the different versions. That was very well done, and then they dropped us with this news, which I'll pass over to you.
That's right. We got official confirmation that Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon.
That's a new one. Pokemon Moo.
Oh, God.
I wouldn't put it past them.
Those two games were officially announced. So, yeah, the pair of 3DS games were unveiled during today's Pokemon Direct. The announcement was a total surprise since trademark for the games leaked on Thursday, but all confirming their existence. Furthermore, the recent debut of the new Pokemon Meganera hinted that a new installment of the series was on the horizon. The Nintendo Direct also announced the Virtual Console versions of the original Pokemon games will now allow for Pokemon transfers. In other words, Pokemon caught or traded in Red, Yellow, and Blue on the 3DS Virtual Console versions can be transferable to the new iterations games via the Pokebank. So, boom, there you go. And Pokemon Sun and Moon are scheduled to release holiday 2016, but further details like new legendaries or evolution possibilities weren't mentioned during the brief Direct, because all that we got to see was a bit of concept art in the background. No trailer, no nothing like that, just logos, really. So, yeah, that was really disappointing.
A waste of time.
Pretty much, yeah.
I'm going to do this video, which is in the what the hell am I saying? The pipeline right now. And that is going to be how Nintendo needs to introduce the NX, and how Nintendo, comes back, basically. And it's stuff like this. Like, it's so half-assed.
Yep.
Like, it's like, come on. Just, you could announce this on Twitter, because there was nothing to show.
Yeah.
Like, it was not like... It's so frustrating. Yeah, they didn't even mention Pokken Tournament, and that's out in 3 weeks.
Yep.
It seems like there's a disconnect, because of course Pokemon Company does their own thing, Nintendo does their own thing, and there's pretty much separate entities, which I think is stupid at this point. Because Pokemon Company doesn't want to do what fans want. Fans want Pokemon Snap 2. Where the hell's that? Doesn't happen. Pokemon MMO doesn't happen. Pokemon Massive Open World RPG on console doesn't happen. Like, more Pokemon of the same, like Sun and Moon.
Oh, I'm never gonna live that one down.
Sun and Moon. Brought to you by Dairy Queen. But yeah, it was just so frustrating. Like, it was very well done how they did the opening, and once they got to this announcement, it was like, oh, here it comes, Sun and Moon, and it's coming in Chinese, guys. It's coming in Chinese. Like, really? You're gonna tell us it's in like 9 different languages, and then traditional Chinese, and then like simplified Chinese, or whatever the hell they were saying? Like, really?
Yeah.
That's all you had to say?
Yeah, it boggles the mind.
It's just shaking my head. Anyway, let's talk about good Pokemon stuff. Like, good memories about Pokemon.
Yes, our topic of the week this week. We're recording this on Friday, of course, the 26th. The 27th, this past weekend, was Pokemon's 20th anniversary. Just stop there for a moment, and if you're in, like, my age group or Izzy's age group, start feeling old, because, Pokemon's 20 years old now.
And this, of course, is for the Japanese release date of the original Pokemon.
Yep.
Red, Blue, and Green. Which would later come to the States in 1998, if I'm not mistaken.
I do believe so, yes.
And that's when I'm sure, well, at least I was exposed to it during that time period. I don't know if you came to Pokemon that early on, too, I guess.
Well, for me, the anime really started off for me, and the first Pokemon game I actually played was Pokemon Gold on the Pokemon. Dear Lord, Game Boy Color.
Oh, so all right. So
that was my first one.
Yeah, mine was the OG one. Like, first off, let me just say this: like, Pokemon was very, very special, very influential for a lot of people in our generation.
Mm-hmm.
Because, at least for me, first off, the Pokemon show was the first anime I ever saw.
Mm-hmm.
So one that introduced me to anime. The Pokemon collectible cards introduced me to the whole trading card market, which I wasn't really aware of before that, besides like baseball cards. 3, the original Pokemon series introduced me to RPGs, which was something like I hadn't experienced before Pokemon. I've always played like fighting games, platformers, things of that nature until Pokemon. And I'm sure a lot of people talk about Final Fantasy VII being, you know, that landmark RPG. I dare say Pokemon might be even bigger than that for a lot of people.
Yeah, I would
because
say.
If you guys are younger than us, you do not understand the impact of this game. It was Pokemania in the late 90s. Like, it was intense. Like, at the time, I was living in New York, so it was everywhere. That's all you saw everywhere. You saw people watching the anime, people getting the games, people getting the trading cards. It was incredible. Like, it was a phenomenon. Like, it was crazy. It was, you couldn't escape it back then, especially if you were in our age group. And it was really special at the time, for me at least, with Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow. After that, I just stopped following the franchise because to be honest, kids at school would make fun of you play Pokemon. And beknownst to me, like years later, I found out they were playing Pokemon too. They would just hide it under their couch when you would come over, but they would be making fun of you. So I kind of grew out of it at that point because of that. And I stopped playing Pokemon because people were saying it's for babies, it's for kids, whatever. So that was like the end of Pokemon for me. But during that time period, we had stuff like the Pokemon movie.
Oh my god!
That was an event. I saw that when it came out in the theaters when I was in New York, and I remember going to, like, you know, the ticket booth and then the concession stands, and they would like give you could get Electabuzz, Mew, and I believe there was one other card. I can't remember which one it was, but I was so pissed that I didn't get Mew, because Mew's a card that everybody wanted. I didn't want no damn Electabuzz. But they were giving these cards out, and I remember going in and seeing the movie, and still to this day, I watched it a few years ago. It's a really, really good movie, even with all its cheesiness and over the top.
Yep.
Like, it's really well done, and that's why, like, Mewtwo is my favorite character in the Pokemon series, because of that movie, and like because of how that character is portrayed. And it's really well done. It's probably, alongside like the original Mortal Kombat, probably like the best gaming like adaptation that we've seen, to be honest, to this day. Hopefully that changes within the next few years in Hollywood, but it was really special at the time. Like, I was just immersed in that, like the trading cards, like I just getting, like, opening those booster packs and getting those holographic cards and you losing your mind over it, or going on eBay. Those were like the early days of eBay for me, going on there and just buying a whole box of booster packs and getting them in the mail. I remember my aunt, like, when I was in summer in Puerto Rico, like her girlfriend at the time, she went on eBay and I was leaving to go to New York, and she got me like the holographic Charizard card on eBay, and like sent it to me, and I lost it, and bought me like a bunch of booster packs, and I just kept opening them and losing my mind, and just playing the games and being it's weird. It's like I was so immersed in Pokemon. It's like I can't really think of something that immersed me so much in all the different forms. Like, you had the TV show, the trading cards, the movie, the video games, the merchandise. I remember having the electronic, like, Pokédex, which was so awesome. I just saw one of those about a week ago at a retro gaming store, and I was like, oh, I almost bought it. but it was awesome because you had all the Pokemon, and I remember having the poster with the 151 Pokemon, which still are my favorite till this day because that was the OG generation for me. And yeah, it was just very special. It's kind of hard. It's like a time capsule. Like I wish they would do a documentary on Pokemon in that time period and show all the madness that was going on with Pikachu, and like it was crazy. It's like it was so crazy back then how popular Pokemon. And over the years I've fallen off with the franchise. I'm still, I still enjoy the characters like Pikachu, Mewtwo, and like all these cameos that they make like in the Smash Brothers series. And I've tried to get into the franchise several times at this point. I tried with Pokemon Heart Gold when they had the little Pokewalker when they re-released that. It didn't really click with me. I tried with Pokemon X and Y. I played it for a little. It didn't really click with me. I kind of grew out of it. It's not what I want at this point in terms of an RPG. It's really, really basic. Nothing against people who play it, because I know you're a fan of it. My buddy CJ is a huge fan. He plays all the damn Pokemon games still to this day. And I was arguing with him that I'm pissed that they keep doing these games. He's like, I'm gonna buy them anyway. And we were talking about that earlier, but it was a very special time, and it's always something that I look back on fondly, especially being very young at that age. I was 8 when Pokemon hit the U.S., and from the time of that until like Pokemon Yellow, which hit in 99, and then the movie hit around that time, and then kind of like the 2000s, that was like around the time of Pokemon Stadium, which came on N64, and that was huge.
Oh my god, yes.
Oh my god, it's so crazy, man.
Yeah, my friend I never owned an N64. My friend did, but he had that, and bringing it over and like putting our 2D model Pokemon into it and fighting, like seeing them in 3D for the very first time, man, that was like special then.
Dude, that was a cool moment with the little the pack that you would put on the bottom of the N64 controller. You put in your cartridge, transfer all your Pokemon over, and you could also play Pokemon on the big screen because you had that option where you'd play it 4x3, right? And then the sides were like filled out with like Pokemon artwork or whatever. Yeah. And like, man, like all those, it was a very special time. Like it's something I'm happy. Like I have very fond memories about. It's just, unfortunately, the series hasn't evolved, pun intended, into what I want. And it's just like rehashes for me. It's not for me anymore. I'm still interested in stuff like Pokemon Tournament. Stuff like that excites me. Yeah. Because that's what I want to see. I want to see these fully realized worlds of the Pokemon franchise. But we still keep getting these handheld versions. The Pokemon Company continues to do what they do, and they're very successful at it, so I can't blame them. But I'll kick it over to you before I get into about the Pokemon Company, so you could talk about your Pokemon memories.
Yeah, for me, like I said earlier, it just started off with the anime for me, getting up like early before school and watching it before I left. Like that was crazy back in the day, and I've actually watched a bit of the anime in recent years that it came onto Netflix, and man, there's some creepy tones in that first season where they're like talking about eating Pokemon and whatnot. It's like, oh my god, like that was kind of cruel in a way, but yeah, there was that, watching the anime. Like I said, my first game was Pokemon Gold because family growing up never really could afford too much in the way of gaming, and that was really expensive, so never owned an original Game Boy. But the very first Game Boy Color that I owned was the limited edition Pokemon Gold and Silver one, which was
nice.
Yeah, so that was my first throw into Pokemon gaming. And it's funny because every time I've bought a Nintendo handheld, I think the first game I usually buy is a Pokemon game. When I bought a Game Boy Advance SP, I remember buying Pokemon Ruby. That was the very first game that I picked up for it. I skipped the DS generation, but as soon as I bought a 3DS, I went and I bought, I think, Diamond or Pearl. I can't remember which one. Where is it? I can't find it there. Oh, wait, actually I can. Where the hell is that? Platinum. Okay, Platinum. That was the one I picked up for it because I found it in a pawn shop. But yeah, like every time I've bought a handheld system, I've bought the game to go with it. So the games have always been near and dear to me. Same kind of experience, slightly growing up as you, where yeah, if you play Pokemon, you're a child, but I was about the only gamer that I really knew growing up anyway, so it didn't really bother me that much. It's like, well, fuck you, I'm playing games anyway. So yeah, there was that. The trading cards, oh my god, I spent so much fucking money as a kid on the trading cards. So much. Never bought anything off eBay, though, I can say that.
Yeah.
One of the things I do remember growing up, I lived off in like a community like 7 hours away from the big city where I live now, and well, there was no McDonald's or Burger Kings around, but I remember having family in the city that actually picked up a few of the toys from Burger King, the solid gold.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, the solid gold Pokemon cards in the Pokeball.
Yeah, I had those. Yeah.
I still have a couple of those back home. I know I have Poliwrath, and I think I have Mewtwo, but I'm not sure. But yeah, I had those. The movie, as you said, my god, that movie is still so damn good. There's talk, all the time about how video game movies suck, but man, if you look at it, that's probably the best video game movie ever made. I would imagine a lot of people would say, well, it's based off the anime, so there's that, but come on, it's a video game movie at its core.
Yeah.
One of the movies that has one of the saddest moments ever in any movie, where Ash gets turned to stone and Pikachu's trying to turn him back. Yeah. Man, you want depth in a movie? That movie is fantastic for that. But yeah, the anime was great. I continued watching over the years the Orange Islands and whatnot. But this series is, like you said, so special to so many people, and I'm excited. I still play the games. I loved X and Y. I got into that game so heavy back when it came out. It sparked that Pokemon spark in me yet again. For the first time since the original Gold and Silver, I was like, I fucking love Pokemon again. This is so good. And, of course, you can do the Nuzlocke challenges, going back into the games again for that little extra spice and things. But it's great moving forward, and as we talked about with Sun and Moo, I'm really excited for those coming up. Even though, yes, ranting on about how I wish they would do some other newer things for it, but you know what? At the core, I'm still going to buy one of those games on day one when they release. At the time this podcast goes up, I've probably bought red or blue or yellow on the eShop. So yeah, I'm really excited for Pokemon moving forward, and fucking love the franchise, even though it makes me feel really, really old at this point.
Yeah, it's crazy that it's 2 years off from being 20th anniversary here in the States. And one thing I forgot to mention, Pokemon Snap on the N64. Man, that was, I never owned it until now. Now that I've gotten older, I've gone back and bought a copy.
Yeah.
But back then, I remember renting it from Blockbuster at the time, and then going back to Blockbuster and printing out the stickers. Because I don't know if you guys know, back then they had, at least here in the US, they had a bunch of kiosks set up at Blockbusters where you would take the Pokemon Snap cartridge. It was either the cartridge or your memory card for the N64, and you would plug it into the bottom, and you would print out the pictures that you took in the game, which was crazy because this was way before all this interactivity that we have today. But that was such an awesome thing, and Pokemon Snap was still to this day, I don't know why the hell we haven't gotten a sequel. I thought on the 3DS or the Wii U it would have been perfect.
Yeah, it would have made sense, that's for damn sure.
But for whatever reason, they don't want to do that. But that game was like a spin-off game, like how Stadium was, that worked. It just really worked, and it just added to the world of Pokemon, which was very exciting at the time. But yeah, hopefully moving forward we see something. Like I said, I'm excited for Pokken Tournament, which is coming out. within the next few weeks. I keep going back and forth on it, but I'll probably end up getting it because I want to play something Pokemon related, but I'm not necessarily interested in the mainline game. So
yeah.
But yeah, it's one of Nintendo's biggest franchises. You know, they have some of the most iconic characters, like Pikachu is you know, close if not up there with like Mario and Sonic and Mega Man and all these classic characters at this point. Like he's the mascot for the franchise. So props to you know, the Pokemon Company and Nintendo for the great memories from back in the day. At least for me, hopefully some great memories moving forward.
Yep, couldn't say it better myself. All right, so that does it for our topic of the week. Into our questions and comments. We have no questions this week. And the one comment that we got on last week's episode came from Izzy himself, where he said, podcast way under an hour? Must be because Izzy isn't on it. LOL.
That's true. We're already, close to an hour here. So
doubling down this week.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much going to do it for this week's episode. So, Izzy, I'm going to throw it over to you to wrap things up.
So, thanks everybody for checking out this show this week. Good to be back. Good to discuss the history of the Pokemon franchise with the Lord X. Let us know in the comment section down below. What are your memories of Pokemon? Which generation did you start to become a fan in? That'd be really interesting to hear from people who didn't start with like red, blue, yellow, or gold and silver, and maybe they hopped in later with Ruby, Sapphire, maybe even later than that with like Pokemon White and Black, maybe even more recent with Pokemon X and Y. That'd be strange to hear, really, the people who hopped on the franchise, but it'd be interesting.
Would be.
And also,
before you wrap up here, one quick question for myself. Favorite Pokemon? Go.
Mewtwo. Easy. Mewtwo.
Typhlosion for me.
Okay. Yeah, Mewtwo's, it's because of the movie. Like I talked about earlier, he was such a badass in that movie, and he was a heel, and then he did the turn, and he became a baby face by the end of it. But I'm not getting sidetracked. But yeah, let us know in the comment section down below, what is your favorite Pokemon? Any thoughts on any of the games we've been playing, or any of the games of March that are coming out? There's a lot of stuff coming out. Any of the new stories? Are you guys excited for PlayStation VR? Are you not excited for these Resident Evil re-releases? Are you looking forward to see what Take-Two brings at E3? And what do you think of Pokemon Sun and Moon? For Lord X, I'm Izzy, aka Israel Pacheco 89, and we are glitching out.
Moo.